Hello and welcome. So in this video I'm going to do a reading for the rest of the week. I do apologise if you've been here for some time. You know, I normally do this on Mondays. As you can see, I'm not in my normal place of work, so it's been a little bit discombobulating. But I am here and I want to talk about the rest of the week anyway, because it's only Tuesday and we've still got plenty of time. And yeah, so let's get stuck into it. So first thing I kind of want to mention actually is that on Friday and Thursday we've got, well, on Friday's the new moon is Scorpio, Thursday's Halloween, and these feel to me like really big parts of the week. So right now we're in the waning phase of the moon, so things are kind of going more inwards, drawing inwards and going towards this new moon. So I'm really feeling this kind of like right now we're in a wrapping up sort of an energy where we're not so much outward and doing things, but really it's this big theme. It's very Scorpio season as well, which is the season that we're in right now, of really going inwards, of really like taking the time to withdraw, taking the time to reflect, taking the time to sort of, yeah, like go inside ourselves and not look outward so much. So I'm really feeling this kind of energy is going to be a big part of this whole week, really, leading right up until the new moon in Scorpio, which is then going to be around setting intentions. But again, like with it being this time of year and we're kind of, the seasons are now shifting from autumn to winter, it doesn't feel like manifestation as in like suddenly everything is going to be in bloom. It's more a really good time this week in general to start allowing ourselves to go more inward and slow things down and think about what it is that we want to bring into the next year. So rather than thinking about what we want right now and like again this kind of summer bloom energy, it's more about what we're shedding, which again has been this theme for like I don't even know how long at this point. I feel like I'm always saying it around like this is the time of year where things are like being stripped away to die, to remove things, to get rid of the accumulation that we've kind of had over summer. So while summer is great for all of this kind of like outward and abundant energy, you do also kind of like pick up a lot of crap along the way. You know, it's like you get so caught up in being busy and things happening that like along the way like things get sort of stuck to you. Like I'm getting like this visual of like just things just like, oh, where did this come from and why is this here, and you know, it's all that kind of thing. So so now it's about like continuing this process of like, yeah, I picked this up over summer and actually I don't really want that, and now I need the boundaries to say no to that because actually this is not really what I want, it's not really in alignment. And I'm gonna like just respectfully say no. And that is very much the feeling I get from this week. So in terms of the main kind of like astrological themes and transits and stuff that's happening this week, the big ones I really want to talk about are the fact that we have Halloween on Thursday, and we've also got the new moon in Scorpio on Friday. So I really feel like they're really similar to each other, and that again, this theme around going inward, about, I mean, Halloween is really like the time to celebrate death. That's what Halloween is. It was recognized as being like the end of the year. Not we don't see that now in our culture so much, but actually this was supposed to be like the ending of like we've got all the harvest that summer, all of the fruits of our labor, and now it's like a time to sort of slow things down and going into the new year. So the way I see it is like actually the very beginning is the death part of the cycle, right? We see this in menstrual cycles as well, which is so interesting. So like the beginning of our cycle is the menstrual, when we're in menses as women. So that's the death part, that's the shedding, that's the literal and metaphorical shedding, where things go inward, we go more quiet, we are usually more able to access like things from the like, you know, we're more intuitive, so we're more able to access like downloads, we have more wisdom, and this is the beginning of the cycle, is the death part, and then spring comes later. So I always feel like what nature understands is that we need death first before we come into spring, which is like starting to kind of plant seeds and grow, and then that turns into summer, and then that's when things get outward, right? But now, oh, Halloween is like considered to be the beginning of the new cycle, but the beginning of the new cycle isn't action, it's death, which I think is so fascinating. It's so like not how we see things in our culture. But yeah, so again, it's the celebration of this release, and that's what Halloween is for. And again, with the new moon in Scorpio, new moon also really represents like menses and our menstrual cycles. It's like this death portal and this real going inwards. So a good way to honor this energy is to spend a lot of time on your own, frankly, and getting the wisdom from your intuition, from your inner knowing, spending time in contemplation and meditation, all these kinds of things is very good for this time of year. And it doesn't feel very kind of like it's asking us to do a lot. It's more about this reflection. However, we do see a little bit of a shift over the weekend. There's some other transits that are happening, but I'll get into that on a different video because there's so many transits happening on Saturday and Sunday. It almost warrants its own video, and I usually do a video at the end of the week anyway, so I'll get into that there. But just in terms of this week, it is that kind of, yeah, like I keep saying, going inward. On Friday, we do also have Mercury trining Neptune. So Mercury is the planet of communication, of speech, of language, of travel. It's you know, trickster as well as Mercury, and trining Neptune, which is like the divine. So when it's a trine, it's like a helpful, supportive aspect rather than like a challenging one. Although I don't want to say challenges are bad, they just are what they are. And Neptune is very much the divine, you know. So as I would see it, the source of inspiration, again, this very kind of like ethereal, otherworldly sort of energy. So this transit is really helpful for this like new moon in Scorpio, because it's Mercury, which is communication, and Neptune, which is divine, helping us to connect to the divine, right? So perfect day for that introspection and connecting to something beyond our human minds, beyond our thinking minds. You know, that's Mercury. It's like going into the ethers and like getting this inspiration, this divinity coming through us and channeling. It's like a great time for channeling, a great time for your own channeling as well, using like more kind of occult practices as well, and like tarot readings, again, like really, really sort of Scorpio practices, divination, yeah, and like learning, reading about the occult if you wanted to, because that would be Mercury as well. Mercury loves to learn. So again, that may show up for you in that way, but that's really what this energy is asking us to do, is to tap into this sort of other wisdom that's beyond our human selves, from spirit, from the divine, from source, and us connecting to that, taking the time to connect with that divine energy. So I'm going to get into the tarot reading now, looking at what the cards want to say about this week, any challenges, and guidance to navigate. So let's have, oh, hello, that one shot out there. I don't know if you saw that, but it did. Yeah, ooh, I like this. Okay, energies for this week for those watching, please. Interesting. Ooh, okay, yeah. So, all right, there's also a card at the bottom of the deck that's looking at me. So here we've got the art card. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, this feels like a real balance, a need for balance this week. A need to, again, it's like you can't have all of the yang without the yin, is what I'm hearing. That's an interesting message. So it's like, yeah, this need to really bring some balance back in this week. We've also got 6 of discs, success. I love that it's like, it really feels like balance brings success, you know, or like maybe it's that way around, however you want to look at it. But yeah, like this need for like, actually it's not like a waste of time to kind of go inward, because actually we can't always be on, right? We can't always be in this go mode. We have to also like take time to let things just sort of fall away. And again, with the waning moon going into the new moon, it is about this like bringing balance back in now. Really feels very supported by both the cards and the astrology. And then interestingly, we've also got 2 cards here. So this is one that came out, and then this is at the bottom of the deck, 2 aces. And I feel like when it's aces, it's not so much about springing into action. It's about kind of like the very, very beginning of things, right? Again, like we talked about Halloween marking the end, which also means it's the very beginning. And that doesn't mean we need to go really hardcore into action. It's more about allowing us to kind of start something new, but in a more like in the ideas phase. Like now that we've done so much shedding, so much releasing, it's like we're creating space now to get those new inspirations, Ace of Swords, right? To get new creative ideas, Ace of Wands. It's not the action phase, it's the like the space that we all need, the dreaming phase, the bit that happens before action, the sort of going into the liminal space is how I would see that. Oh yeah. So yeah, the fact that we've got 2 aces here, very much about that kind of like, yeah, slowness. And yeah, I would say like in the realms of like, yeah, kind of like new ideas, inspiration, creativity, to make space for that this week, for it to emerge. Okay, challenges that we might face this week. Ooh, this is interesting. We had this last week as well. The Tower. Like literally the exact same card was in the challenges last week. There might be still some more shedding to do, even more. I hate to say it because I feel like I'm constantly saying it, but yeah, some of us still need to let go. Some of us still have more work to do in this area. And it does feel a little bit like, yeah, there is a need, again, it's this need to surrender, not trying to cling on to control so much, not being so hard on yourself either is what I'm getting. Because at the bottom of the deck here, we've got cruelty. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, the light's a little bit funky in here. Cruelty really speaks of like where we are being like, because these came out sort of like, you know, together sort of. It's like, yeah, where are you kind of feeling, ooh, this is a bit of a rough message actually, but feeling a little bit sorry for yourself when actually it's your liberation. Ooh, yeah. I wonder how that landed for you, if that was for you. Okay. Surrendering to the process. We've got another ace that's just fallen out there. I didn't even ask the question yet. Ace of Cups. Because newness wants to come in. New emotional fulfillment wants to come in. Yeah, look at that. You know? So many aces. I love this. Oh, it feels so fresh, you know? But we have to let this happen. Again, like I know this is very similar to last week, but there's still more to go. Okay, so the best part of this week, please. Yeah. Yes, there it is. The moon. The new moon is going to really help you with this. Sorry, that's the moon card there. Again, sorry about the lighting. Hopefully you can see that enough. Yeah, so the best part being like this new moon is going to really help us. It's going to shine a light on all of our shadows. That's where, again, if you want to get more into the Scorpio-ness of it all, I have done a video on Scorpio season. I would definitely recommend you check that out, because a lot of the themes there are what we're talking about here. But with this being in the best part and it being the moon, it feels like, again, this access to intuition, because that is very much what the moon card speaks of as well in general. But with it being in Scorpio, it's really like, it can be quite an intense new moon, you know, because Scorpio is in its fall, sorry, when it's in Scorpio. But also what it can allow us to do is to, yeah, really go deep, really go like into that kind of like, what is really holding me back? Let's like really like examine it. Let's go intensely into it. That's Scorpio, right? Scorpio loves to go deep. But this, if we allow ourselves to really shine a light at our shadows and look at it deeply, that we will get like all of this sort of fresh stuff coming in that maybe we've not been able to manifest because we've been holding on to certain behaviors and patterns and things that aren't serving us anymore. Okay, so guidance to navigate the energy of this week, please. All right, nice. The Empress. I love the Empress. Venus's card. This card really speaks of, yeah, getting into a more flow state, being in a more kind of like creative space, but like more in the context of, I find it's a very divine feminine card. It's very much about creating space for that new, like new fertility. It's a very fertile card here. And like it's not so much concerned about this like taking action going. It's like it's very blue, right? Very blue, green, very Venus colours on this card, obviously. Pink and green. And it's more this sort of flowy state that we want to get into rather than trying to like force and push our way through things. It's surrender again. I really just feel like there's a huge theme around surrender, a need for balance, a need to continue to allow things to shed, allow this new moon to like really do its magic, do its work, because there is some really cool stuff on the other side of it, you know, success, new things in almost every domain, and more kind of sense of overall well-being is what I'm really getting with this. So yeah. Ooh, interesting. Let me know what resonated for you in that video. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as always. And if you have enjoyed this, let me know by liking or commenting with what you enjoyed and subscribing if you're not already a subscriber. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you all soon.